And he's lost his mic in the opening seconds.
We're live. Have we got volume? First thing, as we always do, just let us know. Good, that sounds great. I can hear myself.
I should probably turn mine off at this point.
Oh my God, the disorganization. Okay, welcome.
Where's the
Can
mute?
you just mute it?
I'm trying.
Mute it. Oh,
an hour ago,
goodness.
he said, "Oh God, we've got so much time."
I didn't know that you were going to be some sort of technophobe, not able to mute your computer.
I didn't even think that I didn't really think about the reality of it going on.
Oh, well, welcome to Corners Live. This is our pre-game show for our Corman special.
Yeah, well, our Corman, Price and Poe special, which is really the Corman Poe special, but Vincent Price's name shifts it a lot better. And he is in 7 of the 8 films.
Yes.
But we've got another Vincent Price special coming up imminently after this. Not imminently as in it's going to be on after tonight's one, but in a month or so.
Cool. What should we talk about?
What should we talk about?
Yeah, so feel free to pop some questions in. We'll ask it. So this is going to run for about an hour, and then we're going to jump over to the Corman Price Poe special, where we'll be in the live chats there as well.
Yes.
So that's what we got planned for you this evening.
So yeah, I mean, if you've got any questions about that special or about anything else that we do, about where you can get these wonderful T-shirts, Graham is sporting the new design. Then please get in touch via the usual thing.
Absolutely. And we're now also announcing that if you buy a piece of this T-shirt, we will send you an exclusive review that you can only get from buying a T-shirt or sticker or something.
Yeah, you will have to send us proof of purchase.
Yes. So, and that will be either send us a DM on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called, or Mastodon,
called Twitter,
or Facebook, or the email address on the YouTube, or if you're a Patreon, you can message us through there. So that's basically it.
Yep.
We got questions. Favorite vampire movies?
Wow. Okay. Dracula's always good.
How many films are going to be covered in this special? 8.5.
8.5. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll give you 8.5. You're thinking of The Terror.
I am thinking of The Terror.
Yeah, 8.5. Like the Fellini film.
Yes. Yes, favorite is The Raven. I believe that's one of your favorites as well.
It is one of my favorites, as will be very clear.
Have you seen the Barbie movie yet? I have. Yes. You haven't?
I've been holed up in Hampshire.
I thought it was okay. I didn't like Will Ferrell in it. I thought he went over the top trying to be funny.
This is interesting. There's a time lag on my laptop that's not on yours. So I drink and then turn and watch myself drink. It's really weird. Sorry, there were
Sean
questions.
got a Dark Corners shirt for Christmas. So Sean, you just have to send us a photo of that shirt, wearing it or not, and we will send you an exclusive review.
Sorry, Graham is not asking for topless pictures. A photo of the shirt.
No, I'm asking for topless pictures.
Oh, okay, my mistake.
I want this shot. What do you think of the Night of the Living Dead from 1990? That was the color remake.
I have not seen it.
I actually didn't mind it. It was essentially the same film, so it's kind of pointless. But it wasn't too bad.
I think it's always. I haven't seen it, but I can't really comment. But I think it's always hard to recapture the beneath the skin feeling of that original one, where you can feel the griminess of it.
Are you writing anything?
Yes, I am writing a very different type of book to my usual ones. There will be another Universal Library book out next year. There isn't one this year because I'm working on a bigger novel that's still film based, but more serious, I suppose, not horror. And that's turning into a lengthier project than I had planned, but I'm enjoying it very much. I hope people will enjoy it.
What do we think of Nicholas Roy's cinematography in Mask of the Red Death?
Nicholas Roy. I think it's fantastic. I adore that film.
We like the cinematography a lot in the series.
There Or there are 3 cinematographers who work on the series, and they are all name cinematographers, as it were, people who you can identify with other work. Obviously, Rogue was he was assistant cinematographer on David Lean's Lawrence of Arabia, and then went on to be a very, very fine and individual director in his own right. Arthur Grant did cinematography on Tomb of Ligeia, who was one of Hammer's big cinematographers. And then the first 6 films are, I'm blanking on his name, Floyd Crosby, who worked with Corman for a long while, but was also cinematographer on, I keep saying the word cinematographer, on F.W. Murnau's Taboo, of all things.
Yes.
One of the last great silent films. Really fantastic film. And what's the other one he did? High Noon. High Noon.
Yes. Do we have a shot of the St. Louis in the Vincent Price special? Does that mean anything to you?
St. Louis?
Apparently we don't. Favorite voodoo movie?
Voodoo movie?
I don't know.
We've got a review coming out of Alabama's Ghost.
That has some voodoo in it.
That has some voodoo in it. So I'm going to say Alabama's Ghost, because although it is a terrible movie, I kind of loved it.
Are we going to do a streaming review of The Great Silence, starring Klaus Kinski?
I mean, it's not on the list, but maybe.
You never know.
You never know.
The original haunting classic. Time the Common Poe special is perfect for anyone with Criterion Channel. That is true.
Yes.
They've just done something.
It's not bad. No, it's all this month. They are running through the Corman Poes. It's also not bad timing for anyone who has, or anyone in Britain really, because Talking Pics TV had The Raven on last night.
And there's also a Corman Poe book coming out.
There is. I don't know if the author of that is watching now. He said he was going to watch the special itself. He wrote that, co-wrote. Well, I don't know. He said he co-wrote it with Roger Corman. It looked to me like Roger Corman wrote the foreword, but if you're watching, you can correct me on that. I hope he enjoys it, because God knows there's someone who can point out the mistakes.
Is Michael Ripper as iconic as Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing?
No.
Nobody is. Have you seen any of the new horror movies that have come out? I did see Talk to Me, which I really like the concept of it. I don't think it was as well written as it could be. I'm going to assume that it's done very well, and there's going to be more films in this series, and they will run it into the ground in no time. But I think the next films, maybe with a bit more budget, a bit more talent attached, might be good. The danger is they've written a big Bible about the whole mythology of where this comes from, and maybe explaining it might be a very bad idea.
Money.
Oh my goodness, Laura, that is super generous of you. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you. Stunned.
What will the next streaming review be? It will be The Tower of London.
It will be.
To sort of tie in with this Corman Poe special. Obviously, Corman and Price made 7 Poe films together, but they also made in the same period Tower of London, which is sort of kind of a remake of the 1939 film, but not really, in which Vincent Price also appears in a different role. But it's an interesting film. And it feels like we're sort of completing the set by doing it.
St. Louis Arch.
St. Louis Arch.
Does that mean anything?
Not immediately. I have
so no.
Coming across.
Last Man on Earth with Vincent, the best version of that story. I
think it probably is. I think the different versions are very different versions. There are big problems with that version, but I think it has a sort of integrity that certainly the Will Smith one lacks. There are things I like about the Will Smith film, but it doesn't have that sort of. It doesn't have Matheson's real cynicism about the whole of mankind, and I don't think that the Heston version has either. I think that the Price version is the best for that. And similar to what I was saying earlier about the Night of the Living Dead, there is something about the sort of cheapness of it that sort of works in its favour.
Mm-hmm. When will we be doing a special on Quatermass?
Well, we were waiting until the new one came out, but that seems to have stalled.
Yes.
So I don't know.
So one day, when they make it. Okay, you're welcome. Is it me or is the audio a little off? It might be us. I can't guarantee it.
Anybody else going to chip on that?
Exorcist remake, a mistake. Is it a remake?
Usually.
I think it's a sequel that's ignoring all the other sequels.
One of those. I
If you do it well,
just
then it's
don't
not, but
care.
I don't know
I
very
just
well.
don't care. And the fact is, you can't undermine the brilliance of the original, so maybe you can just leave it at that. But it does seem like there must have been more original ideas.
I think also the problem with doing a exorcism film is they all just mimic The Exorcist, that they want to see the bodies like being thrown around and a bit of telekinesis and some freaky voices, chap lips, scar, and so what are you bringing to it that's original is the challenge.
It does feel like modern cinema and TV and all of it forgets that the reason these things that you are riffing on and continuing through sequels and reboots and God knows what, the reasons the originals were so successful was because they were original.
Mhm.
And that just seems to be something that's going out of popular culture to some extent.
We're going to do a streaming review of Scum. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's yours cup of tea. Are we ever going to get the Ed Gein special? We will. When? I don't know. Still busy.
We're very busy people.
Should we do the horror smackdown again?
I'd love to do the horror smackdown again, but the sheer amount of work involved, I don't know where we would find the time.
Yeah, we've upped our quota of content a lot since then.
Yeah. Bear in mind, we produce, because we also do stuff for our Patreon supporters, we produce an absolute bare minimum of 4 videos a week.
Yeah.
And that's just adding to that when we both have to actually do day jobs as well.
Yeah.
That's a bit much.
Is there a rightful heir to the films of Corman today?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
I think
the problem is, what the hell is the heir to Corman? When someone's got over 600 credits, what part of his career do you want an heir to? The fact is, he's still making films.
Yeah. I think what really stood out when we did the School of Corman special was how Corman kept reinventing depending on where he could make the money at the time. So he went from doing low budget horror movies to drive-in, picking up on the biker films, picking up on the LSD film, Poe film. Like he'd constantly reinventing. He wasn't just doing one thing all the time.
Yeah.
And then,
in that sense, there's nowhere.
And,
nobody does that.
And then when it came to TV movies, then he jumped into that, and now it's streaming. And I think the level to entry for streaming is now so low that it makes it very difficult for one person to be the producer of that stuff.
Yeah.
That's my take.
It's a much bigger pond now, I suppose. The sheer volume of streaming content that's being produced, and I think the word content is correct. It's no one's. There are presumably people trying to be distinctive, but it's very hard to root that out amongst just so much of it. Whereas Corman could always be a big fish in a small pond, and he could, he was making trash films, but he was the best at making them.
He also tended to, I don't know, in some ways he was, especially like in this earlier era, he was leading the way. A lot of sense. He was ahead of the curve. Where later films, like when he started doing, I think he did Shocked first, didn't he?
Yes, I think so.
That's not an Asylum one, but then it's kind of falling into this is.
Yeah, but I feel like by that point of his career, he's earned the right to coast a little bit and just have fun. If he's still enjoying making films, and he apparently is, then have at it. Man's in his 90s, well into his 90s.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to Demeter?
To what?
Demeter.
Demeter. Yes, I've heard some iffy stuff, but I am still cautiously optimistic because I like the premise. I will wait and see. I do like the premise. I think it's interesting.
The audio is a little clunky. As to why, I don't know.
Yeah. So thank you for letting us know. I'm not sure if there's anything we can actually do about it.
It's clunky might be good to know, and I'll see what I can do to fix that. The remake of The Exorcist. Yeah, we talked about that. Finally, we get to see his dark corner of the sick world. This is actually my dark corner, not his dark corner.
We are on location at Graham's house in an undisclosed area of London.
Yes. Will we ever see a Peter Lorre special?
That's interesting. I don't think so, because I don't really think that Lorre did. I don't really call him a horror star, to be honest. I think that he made some horror films, but his career is so diverse. He doesn't feel like he's quite right. I mean, we did the special about M. I think that other films that he was in are bound to come onto our radar. I'd love to do something about the various Hands of Orlac films that there are, and Mad Love is a key one. But probably not a special about him specifically, I don't think. Obviously, he figures in tonight's special.
How about Dick Miller?
No, I think probably not.
Your favourite Italian film?
That's such an enormous net. Okay, I'm just off the top of my head. I really do, just because it kind of relates to this evening, I really do like Fellini's 8.5. I actually prefer it to Dolce Vita.
Cool. Besides King Kong and Godzilla, what is the best kaiju giant horror fictional movie? You can't say Jurassic Park or Jaws. There's a lot of caveats to this question.
Can I pick one of the Harryhausen ones, or are they? Do they count as giant monster movies? I'll go with the Emir's giant at the end, so I will go with 20 Million Miles Worth.
Thank you, Midnight. And how is the Science Advisor doing?
He's doing very well. He is going to. We're going to be filming. I'm going to be filming with the Science Advisor when I get back from my summer home, where I'm on a working holiday, because we've got another review for him coming up, and one in which he has to give us some proper scientific detail.
Yes. For a certain giant claw.
Yes. That wasn't. I don't think that was as subtle as you thought it was.
I wasn't going for subtle. I don't know the subtleness is.
Subtlety.
That's the one. Look forward to this. Although I'm halfway through the Corman Poe Arrow set. Am I risking spoilers?
Yes.
Are you?
We've kept spoilers off of. I think the one that's important is Pit and the Pendulum, because I think there is something at the end of that doesn't want spoiling. I would be slightly worried about Mask of the Red Death.
That's not part of the Arrow box set.
Oh, that's true. It's not.
So, yes, we're ruining that one.
I don't think we're ruining Tomb of Ligeia. There are pictures from the climax.
Yeah.
I suppose it depends what you mean by spoilers, but I would certainly. You'd certainly be better off finishing the box set before watching our special. On the other hand, I don't really like the idea of navigating someone away from our special. There are spoilers in there to some of the films.
Would you have liked the John Carpenter Creature from the Black Lagoon movie? I didn't know that was an option.
No, neither did I. Yeah, sure. John Carpenter's a consistently interesting filmmaker. Not always brilliant, but always interesting.
Apparently, audio sounds like noise cancellation. Not sure. I'm going to have to dig into this at some point to figure that out. Okay. Walter Fletcher says that he met Vincent Price, and Vincent Price said Pit and the Pendulum was one of his favourites. And he certainly does seem to have a lot of fun. I think it's Pit and the Pendulum.
Well, the great thing about the Pit and the Pendulum is that he does get to play sort of insanity and anxiety and lost love, some proper emotional stuff, and then at the end just goes berserk. And I think actors like that sort of range. That sort of they like to have different types of characters to play.
Will we review Stuart Gordon films? I'm not sure it's going to be at the top. like some of them might make it in
Yeah.
at some point, but I don't think it's not one that's going to get a special.
I missed the opportunity to see Dolls at the Forbidden Worlds Film Festival, which was a shame. That was my Stuart Gordon comment. We might do some of his for there's the sort of things that might crop up on streaming.
Have you been approached by any boutique labels to produce video essays for Blu-ray releases? Although I've actually,
No, and frankly, it's a scandal that we haven't.
Because I think, I think we could produce some decent content for a Blu-ray.
A lot of people have said that our specials are better than the extras that you get on these box sets.
Yes, quite possibly so.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's a case that we have access to footage they don't have.
Yeah, we don't have to clear rights the same way a Blu-ray has to clear rights. So
presumably, if we were doing it about what was on the Blu-ray, then we could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, the short answer is no. If you happen to be in a position to put our names forward, we'd love to do it.
What's that like? Obviously, Sight and Sound guy,
Kim Newman.
Yeah, he obviously gets to war for a few over the years. I've seen.
Yeah.
So it's working out for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's built up a very well-deserved reputation as possibly the world's leading expert on horror, which neither of us are. I've heard Kim Newman talk live, and it's an education.
Okay, blah, blah, blah. Are you filming a short or a long movie? So I just finished a short for a horror film competition.
I'm editing one.
So I'll put that out on. Let's put it on Patreon. It should be going live on a channel, and I'll stick a link somewhere for when that goes live. It's all right. It was like one of these 48-hour kind of ones, so don't expect Citizen Kane.
Mine's more like 48 years, but you still shouldn't expect Citizen Kane. But I think it's got some great acting in it. My one. I haven't seen his, so I can't comment on the acting. And of course, the writing is exceptional.
Are you going to do a special on actor Klaus Kinski?
No.
Robin, are you going to do a voodoo zombie book in your Universal series?
Probably not, because I don't really equate Universal with that type of film.
How do you feel about Twins of Evil?
I always have an affection for it. I don't think it's one of Hammer's great films. It's got a fantastic performance by Peter Cushing, playing an absolute bastard. Loveliest man in film, and yet he really played evil well. But it's we're constantly thinking about doing a special on the Karnstein trilogy that Hammer produced, but it comes with certain problems that there's really no way it will make it to YouTube without limiting it.
Yes. So, what is your favorite bad?
What's my favorite bad movie?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. Today it's what was the one that we were? Today it's
Dangerous
Star
Men.
Pilot. No, I'm going to go with Star Pilot.
Oh, okay. No, you're wrong there.
Dangerous Men. I probably did enjoy that. I liked the first half of Star Pilot a lot, but it tapered, whereas Dangerous Men was ridiculous all the way through.
Are we going to do The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue?
I suppose we might look at it for streaming at some point.
Any chance of doing more Santo movies? 100%.
100%.
Because we bought
our Lucha Libre advisor.
Yes.
Has absolutely put me in a headlock and insisted that we do more. I don't even know who he is. What he was doing in my parents' home.
El Scientifico. Yes, is very keen to give us more insights into the life of a Lucha Libre wrestler. So I think 100% there will be more Santo movies.
Apart from anything else, we bought a box set.
A whole box set. So we've got to work for all of those, which is, I think there's 8 movies in that, which is maybe...
None of them are the ones that people recommended.
Maybe 10% of the films that have been made. If that. So...
prolific filmmaker.
Yes. We burned through all of these questions.
We're actually on time.
Well, I might have skipped a few as we went along.
Well, we're not going back now. If your question hasn't been answered,
just answer it again. And yes, you heard that right. You do get an exclusive review when you buy a Dark Corners piece of merch.
Yep.
Uh,
Should we drop hints about what film is being reviewed? Because it's one people might have heard of.
Well,
Probably not, but they might have heard the original. They might not know the sequel.
Yes, it's a sequel.
It's a sequel.
It has some killer clothing in it. Not as much as we expected.
Yeah. Not yet. Yeah, that was a disappointment. But I'm feeling like we should drop hints and see if people can guess what the film is. And if you can, I don't know. Well done.
I've not watched it yet, so I don't.
Okay.
So that was a hint. It's
the title is
killer clothing.
The title references a 50s rock and roll song.
Ooh. Okay, Robin.
Yes.
What is your writing ritual? How many words do you do a day or try and write? What's a good horror novel you've read recently?
I've read nothing but research this year. I'm not sure the last horror novel I read, but I'm going to drop the name of Simon R. Green, who is a very successful cult writer and a friend of mine who lives in the same town that I do. So I'm going to give him a shout out there. My writing ritual, I start writing at about 9:30 in the morning. I take a relatively long lunch, and I finish usually around 8:30, 9 o'clock in the evening. I take a long dinner break as well. How many words I do in a day very much depends on what I'm working on. I work as a ghostwriter as like my day job. I would expect to do 10 to 12,000 words a day on that. For the Universal Library, I'd expect to do 6,000 to 8,000 words a day. What I'm working on at the moment, about 3,000 words a day. It's just a little bit more involved, but yeah. I hope that answers some of your questions.
Some of your questions.
I have no idea what that was.
Thoughts on premature burial?
I wonder where you were going with that. Well, I mean, you will shortly see my thoughts on the premature burial. It's my least favourite of those of the Corman Poe films. I think Graham. I'm not sure if Graham disagrees with me, or just if you would, you like it more than I do.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed that one.
I find it flat.
I think something jarred me about Tomb of Lygia. I wasn't so keen on.
I'm not so. I prefer it to premature burial. But I'm always interested that as again, I'm preempting some of the stuff that's going to be in the damn special now, but it's interesting that both Kim Newman and Martin Scorsese's cite Tomb of Lygia have repeatedly cited that as the best. I'm just not so sure.
Yeah, and I think Mask of the Red Death was probably my favourite.
It's a fantastic film.
Okay.
But yeah, premature burial. I don't think Ray Milland is quite.
Do you remember Blake Seven? And if so, what did you think of it?
I love Blake Seven.
Werewolf Shadow with Paul Naschy is an entertaining bad movie. I'm sure we will get to it.
Sure, yeah, we have actually literally tomorrow recorded our latest Paul Naschy review. It's not of that one, but we are slowly working our way through his films. It'll take us decades to do all of Naschy's.
Right, it bothers me that I was 1 year late joining a Patreon and thus one review behind. Can I somehow retroactively pay the year? So this involves when you join Patreon, you get an exclusive review straight away of our review of Dark Corners, the film starring Thora Birch. Then every year you get another bonus review. So if
That's something I hadn't thought about for this year.
I know, it's going to be in the next batch. So if you've been with us, I guess we've been doing Patreon for about 6 years now, 5 or 6 years.
Maybe longer, but yeah, something in that.
So if you were there, you've had like 6 of these reviews, but you don't get the latest one. You get the one for that year. I'm not quite sure how we're gonna work it for people to catch up. It's interesting. It's a dilemma.
It feels like if you pay us, then almost anything is possible. But
yeah.
We'll try and figure something out.
Yes, probably if you just message me, you never know. Might feel
message on Patreon, and that's easier than us trying to fix it now.
Something magical might happen. What horror movie that ends in a non-horror explanation do you recommend?
Do I recommend?
So,
I was about to drop London After Midnight, but I can't really recommend something you can't see, or recommend Mark of the Bat. Horror movie that ends in a non-horror explanation. Oh, great! I forgot. The Japanese zombie one.
oh, thank you.
One Cut of the Dead.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, One Cut of the Dead.
One Cut of the Dead.
I can't believe I came up with a good answer to a question on the spot.
Thank you very much, Philippe, for your generous donation.
Thank you, Philippe.
Which is best, Phantom of the Opera 25 or 43? 25.
25. The 43 one is really slow and not horror. And to be honest, I don't know why it's got a reputation.
Do you know, but the 43 one, the reason it's so slow for me, when we did.
Yeah, we last watched it during a 24-hour filmathon.
And it was.
I want to do that again. That was at like 4 in the morning.
And it was like at the worst time.
Yeah.
Like that was where like we were like too far away from the end to be awake. And it was like that was a grind.
I want to do that again. I want to do that again.
Man.
You didn't enjoy that?
I don't. It's doing it's fine. It's just I can't do late nights anymore. And I'm an old man.
I will do it
again.
old
man. The Oblong Box, the worst Poe adaptation.
Yeah.
I've got a copy of that. So I can tell you that away.
We really should. I mean, we were saying earlier, really should have done one of the other AIP Poe films as a bad movie review this coming week. For some reason, I didn't think of doing that. The Oblong Box could have been it. I think that's Gordon Hessler. Most of the later ones are Gordon Hessler. And yeah, none of them have what Corman brought to them.
Are you doing a regular review on Basket Case? So do you know this one? No.
Oh,
so
yeah.
With the twin, in the basket.
I don't really like
it's probably not. It might come up in a video we were going to do a long time ago about evil twins.
Oh gosh.
But other than sort of identifying a handful of films with evil twins, that's as far as it got. Have you reviewed Spectre with Gig Young and Robert Clubb?
No.
Great cast. So no. One Cut of the Dead was pretty good.
Gene Roddenberry directed it.
Ooh.
Apparently.
Beginning with Corman. What film should I watch first? I think you can just pick eras out because they're quite different.
Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, sometimes it's so hard to believe that the man who made the films that we're going to talk about via this special later tonight is also the man who did Giant Leeches, Attack of the Crab Monsters.
And then The Intruder.
Yes. And then The Intruder, and then such sleazy stuff. Well, didn't direct, but produced such sleazy stuff in the 80s. It really depends what your taste in horror is. Whatever it is, then Corman probably did it at some point. But if you just want, I mean, if the Poe stuff appeals to you, I think then why not start with Mask of the Red Death, or just start at the start?
I would say maybe start
at the start.
Yeah,
I think House of Usher. Well, I do think Mask of the Red Death is the best. Again, I'm just saying stuff that I'm going to say again later. The House of Usher just has something special about it, and it's the one that captures Poe best, and it's the one that has the balls to not try and explain everything, and to not really have any traditional motivations, anything like that. It is what Poe did with his short stories. That it's tense and filled with atmosphere and really unsettling, rather than falling back on mainstream techniques.
Have you seen 30 Days of Night? Was that a bit too gory for your sensibilities? Vampires.
Yeah, I know the film. I'm just trying to think. I think I started watching it and stopped.
It's a really good idea. I like the idea of that.
Oh, it's a great idea.
And I believe it's well executed. I've not actually seen it. It's kind of, so there's a whole ton of films that I'd like to get around to seeing and don't see. Any chance of review of The Lake from 2023? I don't know the film, so I don't know. That's passed me by as well.
Potentially.
Potentially.
Well, if we don't know it, then potentially. It might be really interesting.
which I think you agree with. This Ray Milland is so often hilarious. Eden Lake, I consider a horror film. Yeah, Eden Lake is definitely one of the films that just left me like. Most horror films, like you can watch them and go.
Yeah.
Eden Lake, like the ending of that, just really sticks with me because it's dark and it's very much based in the real world. And
those I think are probably true horror films, the ones that live under your skin for weeks to come.
yeah, so I guess it's a bit like Straw Dogs kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, that. So yes, have you watched Eden Lake?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, no, you won't.
Probably not. I like Straw Dogs. Well,
Straw
I
Dogs.
like Straw Dogs. Did you watch The Track?
No, not yet. No,
Okay.
It's on.
So I'm just thinking of Straw Dogs, maybe thinking of the film we've got coming up on the streaming, which was a French one that was recommended by a friend of mine who works at the Cinema Museum, and it had been on my to-watch list for a while, and it absolutely stunned me. I thought it was brilliant.
Can we?
Track.
This is an old school one. Can you reincorporate Robin rising above the tombstone effect from the early reviews? Probably not.
It would be incongruous now. I'm so much older.
You used to have your head landing on the spike. That was a whole thing.
We had a lot of gimmicks back then.
Are you ever going to review in any way zombie flesh eaters?
Zombie flesh eaters? Have we not done that? Oh no, we did Flesh Eater.
Yeah.
Is Zombie Flesh Eaters the Fulci one? There are so many films with, or is that just zombie?
I'm not sure which one it is.
I'm getting confused.
It could be zombie. Maybe it will come into another video, maybe about zombies. Man with the X-ray eyes.
Yeah, that's one of these interesting ones that sort of falls between bad movie and streaming, I think. I think if we were going to do it, it would be on streaming because it's not bad enough for regular Dark Corners.
Final Cut that's just been released is a remake of One Cut of the Dead, but in French.
Okay, I don't see why that would be necessary. What do I
know? The Lake is Thailand's attempt at a monster movie.
Okay,
so there we go.
That sounds interesting. Yeah. I'm up for that potentially. It's been a while since we've done a Thai review on streaming.
Floating heads.
Yeah, always floating heads with entrails behind them.
People giving their thoughts, which is lovely. Raven being favourites. The Sorcerer fight at the end is magnificent.
He's not so keen.
Not so keen. But, which film from the Gates of Hell trilogy is the best? This is so Gates of Hell.
You see, my immediate thought is that we're not talking about the Japanese film.
No, we're not.
It's a very good film.
Kind of in the 80s one. And I just recently, the original film sort of popped up here and there online. Corridor Crew did like a look at some of the special effects in it because they're practical but really well done practical effects in the film. But my memory of it is really just the poster.
Okay. Clearly, I have no memory of it.
I think you would recognise the poster if you saw it.
Okay.
It's one of these, now back when there were good posters for films.
I'm mostly just trying to think who directed the Japanese film now.
Speaking of good posters, we're talking about how amazing the Mask of the Red Death poster is.
Yes.
So talk about that while I read the next few questions.
Okay. Mask of the Red Death poster is extraordinary. Graham only recognised a few days ago that it wasn't just textured blood, because there's a scene in the film where there is blood running down someone's face, and it's Price's face, and he just thought it was that. And it's only when you look closer you realise that it's made up of writhing bodies. It's a sort of reflection of the community that Price's character has established in his character, in his castle in the film. All these people who are safe but subject to his whim. I'm now just quoting the special.
Is there a chance of us doing a Jello special? Probably not in the near future, because we don't know enough about it.
It's one of those things where you just think, we'll do a special on this once we've watched enough of them, and we'll just every time we review one for streaming, it takes us like a step closer to doing it.
Yeah.
I think that we did a review of a documentary about Giallo called All the Colors of Giallo, and I think we can do a better special than that, to be honest. They had all the knowledge, but none of the showmanship that we bring.
What's weird is there's 14 people waiting on the other video.
That doesn't mean they're not watching this as well.
Oh, but I guess they could be.
If you are one of the 14 people waiting,
I know Miles is on both of them.
There you
just
go.
said hello.
There you go.
Thoughts on Spirits of the Dead from 1968?
I can't find it online. I was hoping to incorporate. We've got another special coming up, either later this month or early next. That is top 10 Vincent Price horrors, and Vincent Price narrates Spirits of the Dead. So I was trying to find it so I could not necessarily include it, but just have some clips from it. And it's not very widely available, which is a shame because I think it sounds interesting if nothing else, but I can't really comment on it because I haven't seen it. But yeah, I would like to.
Which of the Vincent? This is a push. Which of the Vincent Price Revenge trilogy is the best? Did you see what the Revenge trilogy?
Well, I'm assuming it's Dr. Phibes, Theatre of Blood.
Okay, so yeah,
and
yes, Dr. Phibes.
The second Dr. Phibes.
Yes.
Oh right.
How does Theatre of Blood fit into that then?
Revenge.
No, but as part of a trilogy, is that the same?
I mean, they're not a direct, but you immediately connect Phibes and Theatre of Blood as being almost the same film.
Okay, all right, that's why.
No, I'm fine with that.
I just thought it was odd to have.
He's mocking you. I'm absolutely.
Well, I thought you've got a film and it's a clear sequel, and then another film which isn't a clear sequel.
No, okay, yeah. It's not a trilogy in the sense of like the Star Wars trilogy, more a trilogy in the sense of
thematic trilogy.
Yes,
but you don't.
It just happens that two of them are actually direct sequels.
Yes.
Theatre of Blood was the answer to the question,
which I also knew this is going to be your answer.
I love Theatre of Blood. I like Phibes. I love Theatre of Blood. Maybe it's because I'm a theatrical person, but I think it's mainly that Theatre of Blood is more fun than Phibes.
Actually, did I keep a clip of Theatre of Blood in the review, or did I? No, I took it out.
Yes. Oh, did you take it out? Okay. There was one.
There was one. In which case, I'm thinking maybe it's not been subtitled properly. I'm not sure.
We will find out.
Watch
out for that.
I don't remember. I don't remember writing Theatre of Blood.
It was definitely when I saw it. There was definitely a thing for Theatre of Blood.
Oh, okay. Maybe I didn't remember.
Why would you remember that specifically?
No, it's more that I didn't remember it. I remember putting it in, but then I didn't know if I took it out and put something else.
Let's keep on with the questions. This feels like something that we can't fix now anyway.
Gates of Hell. Oh, there you go. That's the.
Yeah, thank you. The same guy who, very good director. Very good director. Did oh great! Now I'm going to forget what the silent film was. A Page of Madness. Tensuke Kinagasa. He really only has those two well-known films, and I don't know much about his career beyond that. But with two such extraordinary films, you almost don't need the rest.
I think that might be a way of doing the those vampire movies, a Hammer Glamour special.
Yes,
that might be that might.
I mean, to be honest, we don't need a way of doing them. You just need a way of they are already a trilogy. You just need a way of tricking YouTube into thinking that they're not just movie films.
Yes,
which is unfortunately kind of what they are. There's a lot of good ideas in them. There's just also a lot of other stuff that YouTube will not let us monetize.
Yes,
or show.
Show's the bigger one.
Well,
actually, it's the age restricting it because then it just sort of kills the view.
It kills the review completely.
I'm going to check out Spirits of the Dead later. Thanks for the suggestion.
I can't call it a suggestion. I haven't seen it. It's a really interesting one. If you've got it, if you know where I can find it online for free, then please let us know.
It might have been for the other one.
Okay.
Copy of that. 19 people now waiting on the others.
Well, it is getting closer now.
Yeah, I know, but they should be watching should be on the stream.
I'm sure they are.
I've always wanted to see a version of Shuttered Room, which is What's a Lovecraft story?
Okay. I've never really read Lovecraft. I've read Poe, but not really Lovecraft.
Have we reviewed Voyage to the Prehistoric Planet? I want to say yes.
I want to say no.
Ooh. I think we have.
If we have, then it must be under a different title.
We've certainly done things to Prehistoric Planets, and we've certainly had films with Voyage in the title.
Absolutely.
Like those words in titles, we've definitely done.
Voyage from Prehistoric Planet, I think, is that the one that Francis Ford Coppola filmed extra footage of and added to a Russian film?
Oh, maybe.
I don't think we've done that.
Okay.
But I may be thinking of the wrong film.
Yeah, it's starting to get to that point now.
There's a lot of films with really similar titles.
With about 500 odd films that we've reviewed for regular Dark Corners, that it is possible to forget the titles of some of them, the more forgettable ones.
You think we've been more successful by now?
Yes, Soviet sci-fi butchery.
Right.
So maybe, okay.
I don't think we've done that one.
Fine. I will agree to that. I don't remember doing Soviet sci-fi butchery. There's no other questions at the moment. So
okay, if you've got any more questions,
what else would you like to talk about?
Until then, let's just keep talking about Corman. Please all stay around for the Roger Corman Poe special, because that is why we're here. And I'm really pleased with this special. I'd like it to be a big success. How do we define success? How many views in the first week do you want to see? Not how many do you want to see. How many do you realistically?
If it gets over 100,000 views, I tend to be pretty impressed by it. Like, especially in like a short
first
period.
week.
First week, I'd be amazed if I got over 100,000.
Then why did you answer the question? I said, how many do you want to see in the first week? And you 100,000. It's been a long time since we've done that in a week. I'm not sure if we've ever done
it. Not
Man Who Laughs, but not in its first week.
No, it's done it in other weeks.
Yeah.
Some more questions come in.
Maybe just as well, because that was going nowhere.
Do you agree with the 80s the best?
Peter Bogdanovich, not Francis Ford Coppola. I
Yes.
apologize.
80s best decade for horror.
No.
Best decade for horror.
For me, it was obviously the 30s, but I did a survey on
Twitter,
on
X.
I did a survey, and the decision of the masses was that it was the 50s, even though none of us could retrospectively name any great films.
Really?
That was the decision. Well, this is why Twitter is obviously going downhill, because people don't know what to talk about. That was what came out.
Like, what good horror films came out in the 50s?
I mean, some monsters.
I'd go 70s.
70s, I think, is the usual answer. But it depends on your taste in horror. My taste in horror is a little bit more classical.
Yeah. Well, 60s then for you.
I say, if in one decade you've got Bride of Frankenstein, Invisible Man,
yeah,
I almost don't need any more than that. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Can you do a review of Soviet masterpiece Come and See?
Oh, yeah, we probably could. I don't know. Is it streaming anywhere? I'm just talking to the camera like he's going to answer me back.
Weird. Are we sitting in the dark? No, we've got a screen up there and it looks okay, so might be your computer. Coffin Joe films. We got the box that you better dig into it, but you haven't generated any thoughts yet.
The problem we've got is that, firstly, I mean, they're not. What I've seen, they're not going to go on streaming. They're going to be bad movie reviews, and the versions we've got are not dubbed, which kills it instantly for us. having watched a couple, I'm not convinced they'd even work if they were dubbed. There's so much talking. There's so much talking.
Yeah, we did sort of skip out on the fact that Dracula was in the 50s.
Yes. Maybe that's probably
that was a bit of an oversight. Oh no, what films came out in the 50s?
and Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And lots of other stuff.
Yes.
It's late and I'm tired.
It's not even as late as we usually do this. I'm quite glad we're going to be breaking early today, especially considering how much we've got to do tomorrow.
It's been I was traveling. When did I get here? 2:00? So I had a 4-hour journey just for a kickoff.
Yep.
Starting with a very long bus journey.
I can imagine very washed out, yes. One day I will figure out how to use the streaming software that adds a little bit of grading onto the image. One day.
In fairness, I'm pretty pale anyway, so
I had a different filter on the camera. Like, see if this looks way better or way worse.
This is what the live stream's been reduced to, is it? We're trying out different camera gradings.
Yes.
Please do stick around for a John Carradine special. My God, that's definitely a possibility. Because it feels like that would double as a history of horror.
All right. How does that look? Does that look shockingly awful?
No, that looks much better.
It looks shockingly awful on the camera.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's more natural colours.
Is it? Oh, I look like fucking gross now, man. Like your cheeks. Look how rosy your cheeks look.
Well, I'm afraid that's how I look.
It's too saturated for my liking. Picture got better. All right, I'll use this setting from now on. Then.
It's more, but I'm afraid this is just the haggard way that we look in our mid-40s.
That's trying to hide it. Trying to hide
it. Everybody's saying better.
Yes. Fine. Okay.
Just because you don't like the way that the mirror is lying to you.
Oh God!
Every single person, even my parents, even the science advisor. The science advisor has chipped in.
The science advisor could have chipped in earlier with some science advice on this.
The science advisor doesn't do that much streaming. If we did a live stream with the science advisor, we would get so many more questions than we get.
Oh, here's a genuine question that we've been wanting. Okay. Graham, you're great in front of cam. Why don't you co-host?
You know, it's just mean of you to mock him like that with your obvious sarcasm.
I'll tell you for why. I don't really have an interest in it. It's actually really difficult to do what Robin does. I've done it on occasions just as temp tracks. It's really difficult to talk coherently and remember all the lines. That's a big reason.
I don't remember the lines. I also stagger from one to the next.
I also think that there is an element of the internet that hates change. And if I suddenly turned up on videos, they would just go, "Who the fuck is that fuck? What's he? I don't want him. Oh, Robin." And people like to think that Robin does everything, and that's fine. Like people always complimenting Robin on his editing.
For the record, I think that's sort of a tacit dig at me.
But no, so like hosting and presenting is a skill that Robin has honed over 500 plus videos. So that's why.
I don't enjoy it much either. But I lack any technical skills whatsoever.
More compliments for the colour. How many drafts of your books do you normally write?
The Universal Library ones, usually what I would deem to be 3 drafts. I sort of like separate out, although within each draft I might go back through it more than once. But that's how I mark them out. The first one is just get to the end, and the second one is all right, what was wrong with the first one, and the third one is nitpick.
I could always cameo as a technical expert. think we just established that expertise may not be all that it cracked up to be. We've been doing these live feeds with shocking quality for a long time.
And all it took was like 2 seconds behind the camera.
Yes.
In fairness, from my perspective, it's all just witchcraft. I haven't got a clue.
Did you watch the Renfield movie? I did.
I didn't.
I liked
Didn't look like
I liked the idea behind it, but I didn't like that it turned Renfield into a superhero. I don't know why everything has to be superhero-y.
Because Marvel are making an awful lot of money, and everybody wants a piece.
So, okay, we still got to sort out sounds. That would be my next mission.
No pleasing you.
Thoughts on Corman's Frankenstein Unbound?
I definitely think that's something that we need to get to at some point.
Okay.
I think overall disappointed because he came back to direct after so long, and Corman is a good director, and I don't think that Frankenstein Unbound really reflects that, unfortunately. I wish it did.
What are we drinking? You're drinking a cider.
Nothing now. I'm all out. Cider I was drinking.
And I'm drinking a whiskey sour. Love your retrospectives. Hope to see more in October, which we were just discussing whether it would be October, November, or sometime next year.
Theoretically, there's another 3 specials coming out before the end of the year.
Which are, the first one is the Price Top 10, the film that comes first in the Price Top 10, a retrospective of that film.
Not revealing it.
Then we're looking at the Hammer Mummy films, but that's not been started yet, so we're not quite sure the inroads on that.
Yes. But ideally, that's what we'd like to get done before the end of the year. Tune in for the next live stream to see how we're doing on that. We are getting close.
I just want to see a Cage Dracula movie now. Which Nicolas Cage has a big Dracula fan, and there's people who did mention in the comments that he produced Shadow of the Vampire.
He originally wanted to play Orlok in that, apparently.
Good job he didn't.
A very good job he didn't.
Yeah, but that was the first film he produced.
I don't know.
Sending love for going back to work. Oh, I'm sorry you're going to miss the special. But yeah, it plays continuously.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's going anywhere. You don't have to watch it live. If you can't, please do pick it up later. We want, and as long as I've got a captive audience here, please share this stuff on whatever social media you're part of, or just with friends and family, because that's really where we fall down, is that people don't share our videos enough, and it would be really nice if they did. We'd love to get this in front of as many eyes as possible.
And absolutely, and us to do all the pimping stuff. You want more content? Join us on Patreon. At the $1 level, you get a bonus every week of Robin talking about a film. 2 years ago, he did Hitchcock.
Yep.
Last year, he did silent film. This year, he's doing Kurosawa, and you get that entire archive, even at the $1 level. $5 level, you get all of that, plus you get our Detractors Commentary, where we talk about the films that we reviewed that week in a bit more detail and just random tangents. And at the $10 level, you get to pick a film for us to review, and probably some other stuff that I can't think of. So
mostly it's that you get to pick a film for us to review.
It really, really helps. Even at the $1 level, it's super useful,
Makes a huge
and hopefully
difference.
we put like a lot of extra content out there that's loads of fun.
I think we do.
When I end this
closing in on the time.
Yes, when I end this live stream, it should redirect to the special. I don't know if that's going to be the case.
We have never tried this before,
but I just posted the link to the special, so you can click on. Oh no, actually, is that the special? That might. Yes, it is. I thought I might have just posted a link to the live feed. That will take you to the special as well. So we've got 1 minute to go, but there's always like that 2 minutes of ads.
Yeah.
Beforehand. So we've got a little bit of time. We're still going to be in the comments, so you can ask us questions in the chat, and we'll answer them and give you any insights into.
And we will try and do these more often. Apparently, we haven't done a live stream since February.
Yes,
which is amazing, because last December I remember saying we were going to try and do one every month.
Oh, and also I got to say hello to my girlfriend who's on holiday and will be watching this at some point.
Hello, Janice.
Hello. Please don't lose your passport again. Like literally left her passport at the airport when she landed in Nepal.
We've all been there.
So cool. Is it your Robin writing the comments? I write Dark Corners reviews. Robin will be writing under his own name, so you know who's who.
Hence the sudden appearance of the laptop, because we are now practically there.
Yes, so we've got a few more seconds for any last minute things. Would we do a Terence Fisher one? Be a bit difficult since we've covered a lot of the films in other ways.
Most of the films that that you want to talk about. It would be interesting to do Terence Fisher's early science fiction films for Hammer, because he did, I think, 3 interesting, if not brilliant.
Time's up, Robin. Sorry, and you're very welcome, David.